Hello and welcome to my garden. You may have been here at the start for my gardening video where I talked about hope was really one aspect of gardening, hope and optimism, that you'd hope things would grow. And I talked about in some cases we had plans A, B, and C for some of the things that we had planted. And it was a good thing because I had to use the transplants for the tomatoes and the peppers because they didn't grow. Now I hope you can hear because I'm in the front yard where my garden is, and it's quite noisy with the traffic. But I'll try to show you a few things that are in my garden, hopefully without making you seasick. So we have lettuce and carrots, and towards the back, green pepper. Farther behind, there's red pepper and more lettuce and carrots. And you can see the basil here, it's quite tall. And maybe if we look down a little farther, you'll be able to see the strawberries, and some of them are still growing. We'll have a little closer look at the strawberries. These are everberry, and they like to hide, and I had already thought I had picked them all, but I looked over and there are two more ripe strawberries ready for picking. My rhubarb is finishing off for the season, and my broccoli, well, it didn't even head. Now you can see some of the things that I've picked today. Some of my peppers, the red and green, and some strawberries and peas. They were along the side of the house. And I did some transplanting. Some rosemary, some parsley. We'll see if that lasts. And I was thinking today as I do it, I really like fall. And in my garden, it's nice to see things, but you know, sometimes I almost feel like a murderer when I pull up plants that still seem to be growing, but we're going to have a big wind and some of those plants won't last and the frost will kill them. And I was thinking about a verse from Ecclesiastes. And it was a popular song when I was a little girl, and some people still record it today. And I wrote down some of the words. The song was called Turn, 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 or To Everything There Is a Season. But it's for everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. And I have to remind myself that today was a day to pluck up, which means pull up what you've planted. What that verse tells us is really nothing remains the same. There are different seasons. There's seasons to live and seasons that people will die. Even though we can be quite sad about it, it happens. There's seasons to plant, and there's even seasons to harvest and pick up. And just like we like things to remain the same, we know things will change, which we think would be a good thing with COVID, but things probably won't go back to the way they were. We will have learned some things, and we'll have learned to live differently. Will you have a little prayer with me? You could bow your heads and repeat after me. Loving God, thank you for the seasons. Thank you for gardens and food that grows to feed us. Help us to be kind. Help us to look after your world. Amen. And we'll see you next time at Kids Corner.